So we have our guest for the morning, 4 a.m. talk, and I have with the PPP Echo Jones. He's with the communication team. Thanks for joining me.
Our Deputy Communications
Okay,
Director.
Deputy Communications Director of the PPP. And then we have Richie the Champon, the incumbent MP for Bia East. And thanks for joining me.
Yeah,
how are you?
Too.
We're having some discussion before you came on air.
Yeah.
Anyway, how was the elections?
Let me say a very big good morning to your cherished viewers. We thank God for taking us through these elections. It wasn't easy. We're looking at the tsunami. Those of us who could stay afloat.
Now, stay afloat. That's the phrase.
So we thank the Almighty God. Finally, everything went on successfully, and we had a peaceful elections. So it's good. We need to thank the voters who at least gave us this massive endorsement for the second term, meaning we are doing something good to get the nod for the second term. So we'll continue to serve our people. We will not let complacency set in, because by the end of the day, you'll be held accountable to the people, so that your stewardship will be brought to bear what you've been able to achieve for them. So far so good. We thank the Almighty for taking us through all this process. About 5 months campaigning, the hustle and the bustle. It wasn't easy, but we've been able to manage it.
We'll see how they go. And is the PPP surging on, and how is it after the elections?
Well, good morning to cherished viewers. I'd like to say pleasant good morning to PPP fraternity, and of course to Dr. Papa Kwesi. He's in the US now, attending to business, and also taking Christmas break after elections. We didn't have much to lose. We had in ourselves a will to bring a kind of change that we thought Ghanaians were going to, accept. But then it looks like people have made up their minds already on who they want to be president, and the vote tells you, that people didn't want to make any mistakes. People didn't want to run into anything like a runoff situation, and so they had to just choose somebody who, and no doubt about it, Nana Akufo-Addo has really walked Ghana's political terrain. He's paid his dues, and so deservedly he won. We have to look at where we went wrong, because even in the infamous, if I should use the word, University of Ghana poll was supposed to have been chalking some kind of a 5% thing, but it was really quite an eye-opener to us that we need to, put certain things in place. There's no point in us saying it was good. It wasn't the best of things. We're expecting a better performance. But Ghana won, and we move on to see what the next government has got for us.
Okay, so Mr. Champon, let's look at Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo addressing thousands of supporters and members of the party at the Accra Sports Stadium. It was just the climaxing of all events, a Thanksgiving service, he said, and the theme of and the focus of his speech, etc.
Yeah, yesterday they held their Thanksgiving service at Accra Sports Stadium, and then he said they should chart a new path. And then I heard him say they should forgive each other. So we are just waiting to see if they can walk the talk, so that they can put their party together. But in Ghana today, almost everybody is an NPP sympathizer, because nobody wants to associate with the loser. So even those people who were not actively involved in the campaign and all that, you can see right now with the party T-shirts and all that. So they have to be careful, because some are fake, because they want to join the winning team. So
well, they got a lot of votes, so it cannot necessarily be fake, can it?
But looking at the numbers, and then there are people, even in our constituency or where we live, you don't see them doing anything for the party. But now that the party has won elections, you can see everybody is coming up just to support.
Well, heroes or winners have a lot of friends.
That's it. So we will not be observers. MPP will measure according to their promises that they gave to the good people of this country. So, like, for example, they told us they are going to give each constituency $1 million. Let's say 4 million Ghana cedis. And we raised a question, but we told that the money is there. So the next budget come March 2017. I'm expecting a budget line giving us 1 billion Ghana cedis, because it's 4 million by 275. And they promise that they are going to restore teacher training allowance and the nurses allowance and all that. You're expecting to see something in the budget. So we are going to monitor whatever they told us, so that if they're able to do it, good for all of us. So we will support the Akufo-Addo in player to deliver, but not an observer, so that at least whatever he said, the one district, one factory, yeah, I'm not expecting to do it within, let's say, a year, but they should give us a plan. The feasibility studies that they've done, indicating that they can fund it, and in my constituency, they kind of factory they are going to build for me, the one village, one dam. So
in your constituency, what factory, which resources can they harness to build a factory around?
It's a cocoa grain area. From my constituency, that Bia East, Bia West, Jabo, Sobo, up to Yoso. So what kind of factory can you build along that line? But the occupation there is cocoa farm. So what are we talking about here? So let's see when we get to the break, maybe they'll cross it.
Chocolate factory there for you. Don't worry at all.
Well, it sounds like coming from the president of the National Sore Losers Association. We need to unite this country. Nana Addo Dankwa is not a PPP man, but we all need the goodwill to congratulate them. And you see, and sounding, the we and them thing, and they said they were going to do it. It's all in the interest of this nation. I met an old lady after voting, and she told me that she didn't know voting was so sweet, and that if it was so quick to get someone they don't like out, she would really get to do it. I mean, she wished she could vote every day. And the thing is this, that we've reached a certain stage in our nation's history where we have to drop the old politics. Ghana is not a duopoly. It's not divided into us and them. It's a unitary state. When President Mahama won his elections, even though there was a lot of acrimony, the whole nation had to stand behind him and watch him deliver. We expect that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo would walk the talk, yes. And I, for example, and us in the PPP, were saying that the free compulsory basic education that we were asking for will be done starting from 7th January. I expect that, for example, the free SSS will start from 7th of January this year, because it's a promise that was made. I expect that the National Identification Scheme will hear something starting from 7th of January. There are certain things that have to be mandatorily done, and that's what we are expecting as a Progressive People's Party. And everything that we can do, of course, now we are the seniors in opposition. They are the freshmen, even under Ikweadongo. So more or less, we are going to take the charge. If they decide to sit on the fence, we will take the charge in giving the NPP constructive criticism, telling the NPP, reminding them of the policies that they set, not because we like them or we hate them. There's not about like or hate in this. It's about Ghana. And I believe that if we all have the goodwill, including the Gbese Manche, to see that it's important for us to support the new president, it will be in our own interest as a nation and as a people. That's what I can say for now.
But if you look at the content of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's speech, very much repleted with themes of unity and how we need to be a lot more godly and rally the nation to achieve. That's a very good speech, a unifying speech coming from someone who has been elected as a president.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's my prayer that he walk the talk. Because if you present this to us and your actions and inactions doesn't get towards it, then people might say that, oh, he said it, but he could not do it. So I will be happy if, one, he can internally reorganize his party, have a united front, so that they can achieve the objective, so that all of us will benefit. Like, I'm not trying to be a doomsayer. I'm a member of parliament, and I belong to the opposition party now, NDC. So we have to criticize the government constructively so that we can deliver. If we sit on the fence, okay, NPP has won elections, allow them to do whatever they want to do. We are not serving the country any good. So it's not like I'm going to criticize Nana Akufo-Addo for nothing. Whatever he does good, we'll praise him. So he's saying that they have to reconcile with everybody, they have to forgive each other. It's positive. So let's wait and see if they can walk the talk, so that together, all of us will come together and build a nation for the next generation. So I have nothing against Nana Akufo-Addo. Even the president himself has conceded. If given power to Nana Akufo-Addo, what again? So nobody in NDC is trying to sound like a prophet of doom. No, we are going to support him to deliver. I will serve on committees in Parliament. Any proposal, any budget that he brings to Parliament, we'll scrutinize it and make sure that there's value for money, and those people who voted for the NPP are benefiting from his administration. So we are not trying to run him down or criticize for just criticism's sake. No. We have to discharge our duty as a good citizen of this country. So this is our point.
And we know that going on is the transition process.
Yes.
And of course, this is guided by law, etc. Already, we keep hearing that some papers submitted perhaps may not be up to date as far as from the ministries, etc. But today is a scrutiny, or perhaps one-on-one issues to be asked from the various documents that have been submitted for each of the ministries.
Yeah, I know last week Sofomafu raised some issues that they did not receive all the notes and all that. But the Chief of Staff did promise that today all the documents will be ready. And it's early days yet. So I will advise the NPP they should stop the talking. You know, they belong to subcommittees. And if you look at the law, like Section 3(4) of the law says, with your permission, let me read. Decisions of the team shall be arrived by consensus. But where the members fail to agree on an issue, the co-chairperson shall refer the issue to the advisory council for expeditious determination. So if you're expecting a note from maybe finance ministry and you're not getting it, you have to raise it at the committee level. So if those documents are not forthcoming, then you can go public. But they will be telling you there's a last-minute engagement, the auction says is ongoing. You ask them, they cannot pinpoint who is doing this. So they should just exercise patience. They've won power. Let the transition process go smoothly, because even the law has given them a maximum of 6 weeks to deliver. Beyond 6 weeks, it will be an infraction with the law. So within 6 weeks, they can do all these things. If they have issues, internally they have to deal with it, because all the parties have nominated their people who are going to deal with certain issues, finance, local government, and all that. So why are they speaking to the public? Whilst they have no any issue, any basis whatsoever to accuse people that even if there's a last-minute engagement or employment being offered to Ghanaians, what's wrong with that? Which law bars the president or any other member of the executive not to engage somebody in this country during this period? But someone may say maybe morally, if lost power, so just allow certain things to go so that the new government can also do A, B, C, D. That one I can agree with you, but there's no law. So we should stop the talking and allow the committee to do its work. By the end of the day, if there are issues, they'll bring it to the public so that all of us will discuss it and find a lasting solution to it. Than people, because they want power, they just want to take over everything right now. Until 7 January, nobody can assume office or any other position, apart from the president has been sworn in.
But we know that these are critical issues that the incoming transitional team has raised, because they feel they are the incoming government. Things about recruitment and contract, for example, on the front page of the daily graphics, it is alleged that a contract has been signed, 80 million euros between a waste management company, and then just the 15th of December is being speculated. You know, incidents like this.
I would agree with the honorable member that during this transitional period, there should be some kind of finesse in handling affairs of state. After all, you've won the power already. The current the NDC administration is still in power, you know, with the the outgoing president in charge, more or less. And that's the reason why, when the violence was going on after the elections, we were expecting that the police who are still in command will take charge. But you see, this is happening as a result of the last transitional thing, where there was a tit-for-tat scenario with people
from
like
2000.
with people like especially the very acrimonious one that went to court, like Mr. Fifi Kwete talking about money lost from the safe and things like that and all that. So they are doing it to each other, and that is what Ghanaians don't want. Seriously speaking, I thought that someone like Mr. Osafo should be an elder citizen. If in a conciliatory mood, someone like Mr. Kwabena Ajipon had even been appointed to head the new incoming governments, and I know he would have been able to be a little more diplomatic about these things. After all, whether contracts are signed or not, the new administration that is coming has got a majority in parliament. They can decide to look at it in the interest of the nation to revoke some of these contracts. So there is no point in this rush to get things done. But I'm sure that somebody wants to embarrass somebody and it's intentional. It doesn't work for our good. To add to that, I don't know if you heard about Mr. Maxwell Kofi Juma recently about the allowances to be reinstated. I mean, he didn't really talk well. He came back to apologize. Yet, the thing is, I can't, but I apologize. And then he goes out there in the open. I think that Nana Akufo-Addo and his people should watch out for characters like that and just keep them as plain party members. If you bring them into governance, these are the same people who create that acrimony that some people in the NDC created, for which they were soundly whipped and kicked out. And seriously speaking, we need to make sure that in this current administration, nothing like that occurs again, so that we have a government for the people. It's time for us to unite as Ghanaians. There is no, I mean, like I'm saying, I'm not an NPP member, but my daughter is in SS now, and I expect that from the 7th of January, her SS fees should be free. And so if it happens, like I was saying, when it's beneficial for him and the people of Bia. But when it is about them, then it's about they doing it. It's time for us to stop all the old politics and put our nation first. Ghana, we are not in a holiday period. Seriously, we are in crisis. Nana Addo has a debt burden to deal with. And the promises he made, I think some of them are feasible. I think some of them are feasible. But they should watch out. I mean, things about this transition, it should be handled with some kind of finesse.
So you're saying, after all, you're the incoming government. So
yes, you have all
there's no point crying hula baloo about
right.
it.
You see, like the three people say, when they're bringing the drum beats to your house, you don't rush to meet it. To add to that, the problem with the NDC, or the issue with the outgoing NDC, is the issue of the Jida, Sada, Suba. I'm sure, and I know, I also have some information. People are looking for spiritual help, people are looking for judicial help, people are going for places to see whether they can be covered by the Holy Spirit. Now you know God, because your time has come. So we pray that, as usual, God himself will listen to their prayers. If the time comes and he can hit the wall and vanish, we'll see. But until then, let's do these things nicely and let's get things on their course the way it has to be. Yeah, I think so.
But at the end of the day, things need to run, Jones, don't they?
Things need to run. But like I'm saying...
Do you think that literally and also from the outlook of things, we can have not mass, but some level of marginal recruitment in various positions in the public service, in the security,
there are
negotiating contracts.
There are rules and
there are no rules to this. This is a government in power.
No,
they are just outgoing. That's all.
But what I mean is that there are rules and regulations for recruiting people in the Ghana Armed Forces, the security services.
And even in the public service.
Yes, if the rules and regulations have been followed, I don't think there's any problem with it. But if, as usual, you remember our recruiting, it got to a stage where there was a certain guy who was an agent for recruiting policemen in this country under the administration.
But that was a scam, we're told.
Well, it was a scam. You see, but
it wasn't under our administration. We did not authorize those things to happen.
But I mean that it happened when you were in government. Okay? That we could have a guy.
It was not authorized by. It's not a government. It's the police. But I'm saying all I'm saying is it was a scam. So people perpetrate. People do bad things. So
I agree. But it was a scam that tarnished the image of our security services
and the country.
And the country as a whole. That if we have headquarters who are employing policemen, they will know the kind of policemen we're getting. So there are rules and regulations. I'm saying you are coming into power. All these things are going to be laid bare. And crime has no statute of limitations. If someone committed a crime 100 years ago and it means that his body has to be exhumed and tried publicly, we have to do that. After all, ex-President Rawlings One of his wishes on his wish list to Nana Addo, after wishing him a very copious, congratulations and all that, said that certain things have to be done. Those who have trumped the money have to be taken out and have to be dealt with. There has to be those things have to be done, no doubt about it. And so there's need. You will do that.
They have to be fished out.
Yeah, fished out, and then taken to where they have to be taken to, or sanctioned as they have to be.
Okay.
And so for those who don't have any fear, especially like Honorable Bia, he is safely in the bosom of Parliament. And so I hope
he's
that
protected by the law.
Yes, he's protected by. He's got a lot of immunization.
We had an MP who was going in and out of it. But let's change the subject.
Yeah.
Well, not directly related to governance, but etc. We're told that the policy rate could be seen to be falling below 20% next year, and we know what the policy rate is. Now, if that is the case, and I have to start with you, it means that that's good for business. Yes. So Nana Addo's government should be very much happy. But generally, it's about the outlook of the economy and how optimistic should we be, knowing that we're entering into a phase where there's transition. I remember from 2000, we had all these issues about huge debt burden, just like the complaint is. We came out with the PPP and all that. But and now we're coming to a cycle where the NDCC also came 2009. They also laid bare certain things which ultimately, within the course of 2 years, within the administration, were told really was not the case, or were not the scenarios as we see.
Roland, this reminds me of what the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that was about 5 months ago, told the people of Ghana that the outlook of this economy is very, very positive, because there have been some investment, some decisions have been taken prudently, and it's going to yield some positive results, but people did not believe it. Even inflation has come down to 15.5% from the 18% under the NPP 2008. Right now, November inflation is 15.5, and we're looking at 9 or 8 in 2017. And then the policy rate is coming down from 24 to 20%. So even this tells you that our purchasing power is going to increase. We are going to get more money in our pocket. And it's as a result of this, the oil production and the gas production that we are going to enjoy as a country. So this investment made by NDC administration and all, for that matter, Ghanaians as a whole.
We're talking about outlook. You're talking NDC. Or you are saying it's because
somebody took the decision. Somebody implemented some policies. Do you understand it? Meaning, especially the Doomsday issue, that we're able to face it. Because if you read the text, it's telling that because there are more power for businesses to run, we are going to see positive outlook. So it's good for all of us. So NPP administration come 2017 is going to enjoy all these benefits, or Ghanaians are going to enjoy, but somebody sowed a seed. Somebody did what was right. Somebody took some decisions which has brought us to where we are today. So we need to pat the back of the NDC, led by John Dramani Mahama, for taking some bold decisions. Because people were expecting that we do money to them, because they said we needed money in our pocket. But he told them his next administration, assuming he was able to get it, he was going to put money in the pockets of people, because all those investments were going to yield some results, positive one. But fine, the people of Ghana have spoken, they voted against him, but still those investments are still there for all of us to benefit. So it's a very good news for all of us. And we, the workers, at least when you are paid, there'll be value for money. Things that you use 100 cedis to buy, you can buy double or half in addition. This tells you that the past administration did something right for us to get to where we are today. Because look at 2012, a deficit about 12%. We've been able to work and reduce it. We did not increase it. Meaning some prudent measures were put in place to arrive at this decision. And even this tenfold oil production, look at the investment, because the economy or the country was attractive to investors. So people had the confidence in the administration. They invested in this administration, and it's yielding positive results for all of us. So we are praying that going forward, this current administration, the incoming one, the investors will also have the same confidence in them and invest in this economy. So going forward, this 7% growth that we are envisaging, because the Sub-Saharan Africa, we're looking at 2.6 growth, 2.6. But Ghana is talking about 7%. Even South Africa and Nigeria, with this big economy, they are declining. But in the economy, the base is what we used to determine it. If the base is big and you slap any small percentage, you get more margin than having a small base and all that. So it's good for us, it's good for this administration. At least we are leaving a legacy that we've been able to deal with the doomsday issue. We've been able to at least project a very good and positive growth for the country with about 7% come 2017. And it's my prayer that the inflation will further drop to a single digit so that this administration will say that all what we're able to do has given us all these positive results. So that people will yearn for this NDC administration come 2020. Oh, if you were here, you could have even gotten higher than this. And I'm not trying to run down the coming administration, but we know our strength. We know what we were able to do to save the situation. We had crisis. We did not sleep. We worked towards it. So it's very positive for us. So let's work together for the new administration to also continue from that path. We don't want to see a decline.
But I call the difficulties that businesses have faced over the last 4 years is because we've had the government also borrowing from the local markets. Access to credit has been difficult. In itself, beyond all that, the conditions which would have been very much ripe for the private sector to thrive because they are the largest employer and not the public sector were absent. And so also puts the outlook into some lukewarm perspective, if you ask me.
To hear Honorable speak is like we just came out of Through the Looking Glass and what Alice found in there. A wonderful story of Gloria. Why were you kicked out? Like you're saying, the private sector is supposed to be the main engine of growth. People complain about cost of doing business, inflation rates, the debt burden, the amount of money we used to even service the debt in this country. Okay? And so access to credit became limited. You're going out there to the ministries to go and do business, even getting a passport in this country. And so you realize that people started withdrawing, a bit of capital flight started. Now, what is interesting is when people compare our economy to South Africa and say South Africa is growing at 2%. If you go to the whole of Europe, Europe is growing, some economies in Europe are growing at 0%, 0.1%. America is not supposed to, expected to grow above 2%. Because the basic things that are supposed to be there, like the roads, the hospitals, and all those things, have been done years ago. These are the basic infrastructure things that have been done years ago. Apart from that, the income levels of these places, like South Africa and so on and so forth, we're talking about, is nothing to write home when you compare the income levels in this country. During the administration, I don't know how many times they increased salaries of workers. As we speak, even the allowances for nurses and teacher trainees was withdrawn until it actually came back again during the campaign as another campaign promise. President Mahama, we heard him several times saying, I'll put money in your pocket. And he says, no, have you ever seen any government putting money in anybody's pocket? And it's okay, next time when you come, your hand will be in your pocket. And there'll be money in there. I will be building foundations for 8 years. Enough of the 8-year foundation. We started there. What we need to do now, and if you realize there's a bit of goodwill in this country, people have reduced price, like a spare parts people have bought the prices.
That's goodwill.
And so forth. And that's goodwill. I don't think that they'll continue forever. Because they expect that when another comes in, the taxes that he claimed he's going to reduce, the import
that
taxes,
he claimed, he's going to reduce them.
Well, I'm saying it's a claim he has made that when he comes, he's going to reduce.
He said he'll do it.
We expect that it should happen because when it happens, it will reduce cost of living. First of all, like you think about the transport sector we're talking about here. People have to commute in and out and so forth. And then we brought in this Ayalolo thing to augment our trotro and so on and so forth. If petrol prices are reduced, it will make going around easier. If electricity prices are reduced, it will make your electricity tariff cheaper than your rent. When all these things are done, as they said they were going to do, it will make living in this country a bit better than it is some time ago or it is today. At the end of the day, the government has to come out. The government has to come out with very prudent measures to grow this country's economy. Maybe about 8 or 9% because we are way behind. We are lagging behind. The roads that the NDC came to say they built, we pass it, we got the road, you pass it. We travel, because of the politics, we travel around the country. From Takwa to Obuasi, I don't know if you check that road. There's a shortcut from Ayamfui to Diasu to the Sefi area. Go see what is going on in there. You know, but it has been the trade, but we are doing this. And every year,
that road is almost done.
Well, that's the usual cliche. Every year, it comes into the budget. We expect that Nanado will focus, even on the 200 schools that were going to be built. And you see, somebody like this, he was saying, where is the money going to come from? We've had a lot of money that has gone to waste in this country. For example, even in, I think last year, 2015, the presidency overshot its budget by 44 million Ghana cedis. Auditor General's report. And you ask yourself, so what are we doing? How do we run the nation? A lot of waste has been, for example, you take the Iwoyome issue, where a man takes money and he's supposed to be paying, and then it is rumored, or whether it is true or not, that he's been given another 35 million Ghana cedis to work. I mean, you ask yourself, how can this happen if all the functions of state are working in unison? What is with the Ministry of Finance? What is the Accountant General? I mean, what are they doing? The Bank of Ghana itself. Oh, policy rate coming down. The question is, what are we going to do to sustain the policy rate coming down, and much more even make it reduce further, so that the Ghanaian can feel comfortable going out there to say, okay. And you see, unfortunately for us, we are still doing buy and selling. Our economy is practically an import-based economy. So that if we should go into manufacturing, and like Nanado said, if he's going to be able to put in one factory in every district, and Ghana is an agrarian country, so I'm expecting to see a lot of...
In which there'll be a chocolate factory in Bia.
He's looking for chocolate factory. I don't know why he didn't put one there himself, but in his administration. I'm looking at places like...
There you talk about the markets.
Stop interrupting. You take places like Mere Ada. If you drive between this to Ada, at a certain season, watermelons come in so much excess. You take if you have a company like...
And even watermelons, they grow all year round.
All year round. And they have pepper, things like that.
No, and there's nowhere in Ghana that we have a melon...
factory.
Yeah, juice factory.
Melon juice factory. And that is something that...
Where? Well, we do local stuff, I mean, but it's not on a mass consumable basis in which you can
because you listen to stories of people. One of the reasons why the Zimbabwean economy has not collapsed is that people carry flowers from Zimbabwe to London every day. The flowers have to arrive fresh to be presented on breakfast tables.
Look, the Zimbabwe economy is not the best.
That's what I'm saying. That
are you saying it's not collapsed?
I'm not saying, well, it's dead more or less, but I'm saying that they are still, even that kind of economy.
Because of that.
You see, because of just that, flowers. I'm talking about things like the tourism industry, where if we can look at the tourism industry properly.
Yeah, true.
For example,
even encourage domestic tourism.
Banning plastics should be one of the main priority things that this next administration should look at. When I was a child, we used to use baskets and paper bags.
So that we use recycled paper or something natural.
Even the basket industry.
So that we can have demand for...
Yeah, for those things as well. Because a lot of people who used to weave these baskets, now they don't make any money at all because it's only for the export market or something.
But we can also recycle plastics. That's also another form of generating.
And the question is, who are going to do these things? It's the private sector.
Okay.
So if a man decides that he wants to do these things and he needs encouragement from government, then it means that this administration should look seriously at how we can get these things done and to make everybody feel a part of what is going on.
Okay, so we should be optimistic, shouldn't we?
Because the advantage for the policy rate is that cost of borrowing will be cheaper. And if you look at the challenges financial institutions are having today, is non-performing loans. So if you look at their non-performing assets, it's giving them, some cannot even take care of the overhead expenditure. So these are some of the things is going to cushion the banking industry so that they will give loans to many people at a cheaper rate and people can use this to expand their businesses. So it has a ripple effect in the economy. So it's very positive. You've done something right to achieve this feat. So it's very good for us.
It's good that you have a good outlook that the NPP will do well.
Oh yeah, because based on this foundation that we've laid.
Okay. So you're saying
laid
we'll
a
do
solid
well
foundation.
Because of the solid foundation.
Yes.
You started the politics already, but that's good. But let's go to an issue we have to deal quickly with. It's about the influx of our young girls and sometimes young men to the Gulf regions.
What would
The
be
UAE,
what would be the
etc.
main cause of people wanting to leave their country to
Well,
go
it's
work
not.
elsewhere?
It's not only in Ghana that people leave.
It's not only in Ghana, but you see,
And we're told that they are not treated well.
yeah,
And
they
there's
are
a,
not.
And there's a report by the International Organization for Migration,
Yes.
IOM,
Yes.
which now says it's reached some alarming levels. They're
Yes.
abused, women are raped, and all that.
Well, I had a WhatsApp picture of one who had died.
Really?
Yes, and they were looking for her family, and so they posted it to here in Ghana. So if anybody could find who the family members were, so for her to be buried or the body repatriated or something like that. Like I'm saying, the same question I ask: what makes somebody leave his country to go elsewhere? It's because of employment, okay? And there's also one thing. There's something in the Ghanaian which that kind of thing should be exorcised, in the sense that people feel that their destiny is tied with Abroche, and if he doesn't travel, he's not going to be a human
Where
being.
to the Gulf region, Arab?
Well, if he goes to Burkina Faso, he has crossed the borders.
No, true.
You know, and in there they're talking about some dollars and so on and so forth. But it's unfortunate. The racism that is practiced even among us of dark skin is even more horrendous than what we face in Germany or France or so on and so forth. And
even the tribalism and
yes,
all
and
that.
to add even the unfortunately, they make the Islamic religion become a tag to it. So that in Islam, you are a woman, you're not supposed to be exposed, you're not supposed to be this and that. And in punishing these ladies, they rape them as punishment. And they would, so I've heard about issues of them using hot irons to burn them and so on and so forth. More or less like living in servitude. I think that, first of all, the government should look, the incoming government should look at the situation of Ghanaians who are willing to work and look at where the private sector itself can employ people like these. Most of these people, you realize, may not have any proper formal education.
Or skill.
Or skill, that's right. And so for them, maybe going to take care of some old man, old lady, wherever it is, works. People do that in Europe and America and make a lot of money somehow. I don't know how many of them come back home anyway, because they get used to the conditions there. I believe that Ghanaians should just say that enough is enough. We can live in our country, and if we have a government that will really care about the welfare of its people, can do as much as it can. Because we're also crossing the last time I was listening on BBC, and there was a Ghanaian boy sitting in a ship, and he had tried going to Lampedusa.
He didn't die?
He didn't die. He was a 16-year-old boy. He didn't die, and he left when he was 12 in Ghana, and he had walked through.
And he's been in the wilderness for 4 years.
Yes, and that was the time he had the chance to go, and he could speak Arabic. He could speak, I think, Spanish or something, and he had helped people to go. He had become friends with the boatman. Now it was his turn. He had to go, and he was saying he had to leave because in his country there was no hope for him. You know, Nigerians.
A 12-year-old.
12-year-old boy who became 16. Nigerians.
Which hope are you?
Nigerian baby. Oh yeah, Nigerians having a baby on the boat as well, and
Yes.
also talking about things like that.
I heard about that.
I heard about that one. Yes, and so.
So just give me a minute or two, because apparently my time is up.
Yeah, well, it's a very bad situation. Listening to the inhumane treatment meted out to our people, we had to engage with the gender ministry, and we invite all these guys. No, they have contractors around who lure these guys, and then to.
Yeah, people who lure them?
Yes, they are contractors. They take money, and initially.
And then they take you to
many
the
of
Gulf
them
region.
don't know the feeling, the treatment, and all that. When they get to the place, then they regret it. And they seize your passport. So even if you want to run, you can't run. And sometimes you have to report to the contractor who is nowhere to be found. And we need to change our orientation. Like he was saying, we think we can be successful only if we travel outside this country. I have a guy who, 2012, was one of my campaign guys. He was doing well with his business. We were supporting him. For all we know, the guy has traveled to this Arab country. He's all the time he's communicating with me, and he's telling me the stories about those ladies, how they are maltreated and all that. So I asked him to come back home. After all, you live as, like you say, 12-year-old boy.
A 12-year-old boy
What is your
says that
expectation in life?
he says the problems in
What
Ghana.
problems?
All right.
He's a Nigerian.
No,
He's a Nigerian.
No, it was a Ghanaian, but internally, you see, we take people from Ewutu Senya to go and do fishing at Ketikrachi and the rest. 9, 8-year-old.
So he feels he's
kids.
suffering.
And for him, and you see,
That's
when the boys, you know, but look at how.
So we need to change our orientation. Many of my guys, they come to me.
You know, very wild.
I want to go to Libya. I want to go to Libya. I said, I will not support you.
Your constituents come.
Yes, but if you want me to give you money to set up a business, that one I will support you.
You are rich. After
if you want to go to school,
collect my card. All right, so that'll be it this morning. And Richard Champon is a member of parliament for Bia East. The tsunami that swept the NDC MPs didn't get him apparently. He was able to weather the storm.
We'll bounce back 2020.
Storm survivor.
Yes.
Thanks for joining me this morning.
I'm grateful.
And the deputy director of the PPP is Eko Jones. Eko, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
All right. But another Eko, my colleague Derek Eko Sam, is having a perspective on one of the constituencies. And this time he is in Medina. And he's having that conversation with the MP-elect Abubakar Sadiq Boniface.
17, we'll have at least 125 new faces in the August House. I mean, people who have never been members of parliament but are now MPs to serve their various constituencies. And then again, we'll have some other people who are making a return to the August House. They were there earlier, they fell out, but now they are coming back. One of them is the man I am about to talk to. He's a former member of parliament for Salaga. He was also Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing under the erstwhile Kufuor administration. Boniface Abubakar Sadiq, good morning, welcome.
Good morning and thank you.
I hope you are fine.
Very fine.
Before we talk about the seat, let's talk about you a little bit. I hear you were a Christian before you became a Muslim.
I was born into a Christian family, not that I was a Christian. My grandfather is a white from Scotland. My father is still alive, he's a Christian, I'm a Muslim. So the family is divided. We have Christians and we have Muslims.
Okay. Then we can talk about you now. Then you were member of parliament for Salaga. Why did you decide to come down to contest the Medina seat?
Well, as a Ghanaian, the Constitution, Article 94 tells you that you must be, first of all, a citizen of the country. 2, you must be of age at least 21 years and over and above. And of course, I've stayed in Medina for 32 years. Originally, when I wanted to go to Salaga to contest, the people of Medina wanted me, but I said, look, let me go to first my roots, where my mother hails from. So I went to contest in Salaga. And the people of Salaga really gave me all the necessary support. And I also delivered what they needed. And after 2 terms, they also decided not to vote for me for another 2 terms. And that gave me more experience. You see, winning is not experience. It is when you lose that you begin to gain more experience. So this time around, the good people of Medina invited me. I had at least 3 or 4 options. I had Biakuye, I had Kumasi, I had Yeji and Salaga, and then Medina. But having stayed in Medina for 32 years, the number of years I've stayed in Medina is more than the number of years I've stayed in where I was born, that is Salaga. So I choose to stay here.
And in your speech, you spoke about the fact that after 8 years, the people of Salaga said they didn't want you anymore. More like you were hit by the 8-year bag that hit our political fraternity.
No, I wasn't hit at all.
No, I'm just asking that you were hit by that 8 years. You know that after 8 years, there's this sort of change that people would usually yearn for.
Well, I believe in destiny. You see, when I lost twice in Salaga, my party was in opposition. Now I've won, my party is back into power. So for me, it was good luck. Human nature is so funny. We normally don't understand, but as a Muslim, I believe in destiny. Whatever happened to me in the past 8 years, to me was luck, but I didn't understand the dynamics that was going on in my life. But I believed that it was only an opportunity to move from one area to another. The point is that Salaga people did not reject me. If you check from Salaga, they rejoice, the happiness that dawned on Salaga. I played a role, a very vital role, to get Salaga seats back to parliament. Today I have 2 seats. I have Salaga and I have Medina. So you see that at the end of the day, I've used one stone to kill 2 birds.
When you say you played a vital role in getting Salaga back to parliament, what exactly do you mean?
Yeah, when you ask the Salaga people, they'll tell you that I held on the choir to campaign for the gentleman. He was my student. I taught him in 6th form in economics. And I know his character and I know what he can do. And I went to Salaga on few occasions. On the quiet, I campaigned for him. And 2 days to the elections, I was called from Salaga on FM, and I had almost 1 hour to campaign for the gentleman. And that skewed the whole votes towards the gentleman. And he's been so appreciative of what I did for him. You know, 1 minute in politics, in elections, can change the whole a lot of times. And so I'm happy that I've been able to help him win his seat, and I've also won my seat.
Let's talk about your opponents in the constituency, the NDC. You know, they had a fierce contest between the man you beat, incumbent Amadi Sorogo, and then lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu. Between the two, who were you hoping to meet?
If I'll be honest with you, I feared lawyer Sosu because this was a youth, a virgin, who was yet to appear on the political platform. And so he will have carried along with him the youth. You see how it is. But this is somebody, my senior brother, Amadi Sorogo, who is known and has been in politics for the past 12 years. And the people were getting fed up with him. You see, so for me, I was happy that Amadi Sorogo had come back to contest. I said it on air. And I met Susu on several occasions. I told him that I thank God that he didn't come. Any of the 4 guys, if any of them had come, it would have been a threat to me because they were all virgins as far as politics was concerned. They were new. And so they would have come along with the youth going along with them because they were young men, all below age as far as I'm concerned. And so if you met such people, it was quite dangerous. But this is a man who had been in the political limelight for a very long time. They've seen his works. People who like him will tell you. Others who were not satisfied and were totally dissatisfied with his job were all along criticizing him. So within his own camp, he had opponents. You see how it is. So I was happy that I was going to contest Amadi Sorogo in the first place.
And prior to the election, did you sense the wheel of change coming to the Medina constituency?
Absolutely. First of all, we should not underestimate Amadi Sorogo. He was a hard nut to crack. He did his best, but his best was not enough to contain me. On many occasions, you see, in politics, humility plays a very vital role. Anybody who knows me in Ghanaian politics will tell you that I have never lost my temper. I have never attacked anybody's person or personality. I am always interested in issues laid before the people so that they will digest it and finally see that what I'm telling them is the best way to take. And so you could see that for the first time in the history of Medina's politics, presidential, we won. Parliamentary, we won. And go check Zongo. You know how the Zongos don't like NPP. But for the first time, my presence in Medina constituency changed this and skewed everything towards NPP. I was surprised because at the end of the day, the people everybody knew to be NDC now were the people who championed my cause in Medina. Because I felt probably my policies that I laid before them touched their hearts, and they feel that if they supported me, it's not about the party, but it's about the message you deliver and what it can turn the whole constituency into.
Is it not the case that, well, some people felt the NDC had been in power for 8 years, and so it was the 8 years dynamic at work, not necessarily your priorities or your policies?
Not at all. I mean, it is not a standard thing or cast in concrete that any political party that comes must spend 8 years. It is your work, you know, that would justify that you must continue or you must discontinue your work. So the people of Ghana realized that, look, NDC at a point in time, they were fed up with them. They were not delivering, but they were talking, you know, to the extent that I believe probably most of the people were not up and coming, and they were not living up to expectation. So the NDC people were fed up. Ghanaians were fed up. A lot of them became arrogant. They had no respect for the people. Remember, power does not belong to the politicians. Power belongs to the people. And so it is the people who have spoken. It is the people who decide to change and who decide to retain. I mean, Nana Addo has been in politics since '92. He has lost 3 times. And finally, the Ghanaians felt, look, this man has something for Ghanaians. And I stood on platform and said that technically, people should watch what is going to happen this year. Nana Addo spiritually is going to become the president of this country. Not by his choice, but by God. Because this is the 5th parliament or presidential elections of the 4th Republic. There are a lot of things I laid bare. One, if you check, Nana Addo is a Christian. His Excellency Baumia is a Muslim. And you know one wonderful thing? The Bible is a 5-letter word. Jesus is a 5-letter word. Quran is 5-letter word. Muslims pray 5 times in a day. Peace is 5. Ghana is 5. And Nana chose number 5. So spiritually, I was convinced that Nana Addo will have become the president of this country. I said it on platform, it has happened. I'm not a spiritualist. I'm not a soothsayer. But my political analysis told me that Nana Addo will become a president of this country. And it happened. That day I said it, people got surprised because nobody was thinking of in that line. But when I made those analysis, I told them. And me choosing number 3, people thought, how? You are talking of number 5, and you are choosing 3. In Islam, we believe in negative numbers. Witri. Number 3 is a very strong number. And I won. 5 is a strong number, and Nana Addo won. So I believe, look, when I lost in Salaga, Nana Addo lost. Today I've won. Salaga has won. Nana Addo has won. The party has won. So I believe that my coming back is a success for the party.
Let's talk about your policies for this constituency. You have a lot of things you want to do. Yeah. What are the top 3 priorities on your mind for the people of Medina?
Good. First of all, I laid bare before the good people of Medina that I have a vision. Aside of the manifesto of my president, as a good parliamentary candidate, I must also have my own. Because most politicians and my parliamentary candidates lean solely on the big 3, and that is the presidential candidate's message. My message is, 1, to ensure the economic and social transformation of the good people of Medina. And to do that, I have a mission, and it's labeled Mission Medina. Now, Mission Medina is to ensure, 1, we have 6 thematic areas that are laid bare. The most important is about peace. You see, peace is how best we can consolidate the little peace we are enjoying in Ghana. And I believe if we're able to consolidate it, all that I'm going to talk about, the 5 thematic areas will come in, and when they come in, it will really come out with the target I have set.